Congratulations! You've just been promoted to manager. More money, more power, more responsibility, and guess what? Now you have people to manage. Don't be alarmed, you've earned this role. You've proven to your company that you're ready for the next step in your career. But with great power comes, well, you know the whole quote. Being a new leader is all about understanding the goals that you have and supporting your people so that they can do their best work ever. And in this video, I'll go over everything you need to know in your first week as a new leader. Welcome back to the channel. I am David Burkus, and if you're new here, we study high-performing teams and I work with leaders to build their best team ever. If that sounds like what you're needing as a leader, then join us. Click subscribe on this channel, or better yet, join our email newsletter, link in the description below. All right, let's get into it. When I first started thinking about this new manager, what to do in your first week topic, the default reaction, my gut instinct was do nothing. And I said it as a joke at first, but the more I thought about it, the more it really actually was kind of true. The last thing your team needs is a new manager with a new agenda, thinking they have a new mandate and coming in and just trying to change everything for change's sake. You just got here, and even if you've been with the company for a while, you're still new to this role. People are going to perceive you as still inexperienced in this role. Yes, things are going to change eventually. They're going to change over time. But your first week isn't about implementing all of those changes. It's actually just about listening. And yeah, okay, listening is technically not nothing, but it is nothing compared to trying to make sweeping changes. Set up team-wide meetings to have a conversation and listen, and also set up one-on-ones to check in and have candid conversations with each person on the team. What the heck does everyone do? I mean, obviously you've got job descriptions from HR, but you need to have a real conversation with each person on your team about what it is they say they do here. Because people's roles and responsibilities change over time. And so what someone on your team who's been there for 2 years is doing now might not match the job description they were hired for. And as a manager, you should be able to do, or at least be aware of the jobs that people on your team are doing. And people change all the time. You'll have new members joining, you'll have old members leave, and when there's a vacancy, you need to get those tasks covered, either by yourself or someone else on the team. But you can't get them covered if you don't know what people do. So start there. What's everyone's working style? Remember, the better they work, the easier your job is. I mean, sure, being a manager is about making sure everybody's working, but everybody works differently. Some people are early risers. They're gonna be at the office or the virtual office at 7 a.m. They're gonna crank through their inbox, all of their assigned tasks, and by the time you get to your all hands meeting, they've basically achieved everything they need for the day. And other people make the all hands meeting their wake up call, and everything they do comes after that. Some people can be totally unsupervised, and other people need a little more of your attention and a little more direction. Figure out everyone's working style and then try to accommodate it. Now, I'm not saying everybody gets total autonomy and unstructured time for the foreseeable future. What I do mean is that those people who work really well unsupervised, you can give a little more slack, and those that don't, you need to pay more attention to. And each person is gonna have a slightly different way they want to interact with you, not only for support, but for accountability. What's working well? If it isn't broke, don't fix it. It's an old adage, but it's true for your team. Don't think you need to shake things up just to shake things up. If they've got a groove, if they're already working well, don't ruin it just by coming in and changing a bunch of stuff. So learn from what's working well and see where it can be used to fix what's not working well. Which brings us to our next question, what's not working so well? Managers are there to help the team solve problems, and so you're gonna have to dig in and investigate. Is the team underperforming in certain areas? And if so, why? Are they internal reasons? Are they external reasons? Obviously, you don't want to kick off your meeting with, hey, what are we all terrible at? But you do have to get to this question eventually. And so as soon as you feel like you've got some trust on the team, you've got some rapport, and that they're going to give you honest answers, now's the time to be honest about what needs to be fixed. What's everyone's goals within the company and in their own career? In the US, on average, people are moving to new roles about every 4 years, which, if you think about it, is not that long. So the people you manage aren't probably going to be in this for the long haul, but you want to find that out. Ask what their goals are for the long term in their career. Do they want to move up in the company? Do they want to go somewhere else? What are their ambitions? Yeah, great managers get stuff done, but great leaders create more leaders. And you can't do that unless you have an honest and open conversation and an understanding of where everyone wants to go. Don't rest until you know what their real goals are so that they know that you're invested in them for the long haul and not just trying to get a little bit more productivity out of them. As a new manager, you're going to be sitting in meetings you weren't at before and that your team's not at. You'll be privy to more sensitive information, but more importantly, you'll get to know all of the different nuances and personality differences and even background experiences of some people pretty high up in the organization that your team doesn't have access to, but you do. And you're gonna have to start to think strategically about how you can reveal that information to them in a way that helps your whole team. I'm not talking about corporate agendas. I'm not talking about leaking confidential information. I'm talking about just letting your people know what you know about the other people in the organization they might want to impress. So it might be that the CRO is always talking about growth this year. So if you see her, make sure you throw out the G word every once in a while in relation to your work. Or that this vice president is really into pickleball, and if you are too, you have an opportunity to strike up a conversation around it. I mean, obviously you're not gonna pretend to like pickleball. No one pretends to like pickleball. You either love it or you hate it. Anything that helps your team get a proverbial foot in the door, be able to strike up a conversation and be seen more often by those people is going to help them and it's going to help you. So just like you took the time to learn the preferences and work styles of your people, share what you've learned about your peers with your people. This is a transitional moment for you. And don't let any of that stuff go to your head. Instead, think deeply about the type of leader you want to be and the type of manager you want to be known for being. Christine Reardon, a management professor and now president at Adelphi University, so you know she's done her own leadership transition, puts it this way: take a good look in the mirror. What type of leader do you want to be? What type of leader does the team need you to be? Are you going to be a change agent? Are you going to empower others? Or are you just going to go along to get along and hope you don't get fired and nobody notices and maybe you can sneak into another promotion? Take some real intentional time to think about these things, because the managers who don't end up just becoming another middle manager. And while you're at it, don't develop an ego. Just because you have power doesn't mean you have to fit this new archetype of a powerful manager. Listen to me. You are not there to just kick up your heels on the desk of some corner office and just delegate, delegate, delegate. That's a cliche. That's a misunderstanding of managers. Get that out of your head now. A good manager rolls up their sleeves alongside their people. They're there to support them, to prop them up, to help them. They're not there to just look for the next big sales bump and take all of the credit and show off to all their new manager friends. They're there to get into the weeds with each individual person and get stuff done. The same goes with worrying about if your team likes you. Don't stress about that too much. I mean, the worst thing you can do is care so much about winning everyone over that you just tolerate all sorts of misbehavior. Set clear boundaries. You're not there to be work besties, but if you're kind and you're inclusive and you're yourself, everything is going to work out. As soon as your team understands that you're in it for their ambitions, you want to create a win-win and not just take advantage of them, but help them do their best work, then most of them they're gonna like you. Sure, you've got this promotion, and let me say it again, congratulations, but you're not automatically at the finish line. There's a long way still to go and a lot of changes you're gonna face. People change, the work changes, the environment changes, your team is going to change on a regular basis. And so you need to keep learning and keep adapting with all of those changes. Great leaders don't let themselves get stale. Think about the bosses you hated working for. Think about every bad boss you've ever had. They probably had one thing in common. They were stuck in that mindset of, this is just the way we do things. Well, we did things a whole lot differently even a few years ago. And that lack of willingness to change is probably what drove you so nuts when you were under their leadership. So don't be that type of leader. Be the one that's willing to learn and adapt. Be it reading, coaching, lectures, additional education, even videos like this. Find what you need as a manager to keep learning. Go out and get feedback and apply what you're learning. And by the way, it's not all gonna be positive. You're gonna make mistakes, you're gonna get constructive criticism. That's okay. One of the greatest realizations I had that made me really fortunate in my career is that I needed to adopt what we call a win or learn mentality. Failure is just feedback if you choose to learn from it. And so celebrate your victories and hey, make sure you show those and the victories of your team off. But when failures happen, those are your prime learning moments. So focus in on them as well. All right, I'm just gonna level with you. You're gonna have a lot of failures. Like nobody becomes the perfect manager right off the bat. There's a learning curve, you're in a transitional phase. And luckily, as long as your bosses are fairly reasonable, people expect that you're gonna be in that transitional phase. You're not gonna get thrown into the super high stakes strategy meeting where you have to fight for your whole team's budget right away. I mean, you'll get there for sure. But people above you and below you are gonna give you some time to learn and grow. Use that time, and most importantly, just know that you have that time. You don't need to be super nervous. Great leaders aren't born, they're made, and they're made through constant interactions. Every interaction you have with your team is a chance to get better as their leader and turn that team maybe even into the best version of it you've ever seen. If you're looking to lead smarter, then subscribe to my channel right here for more helpful insights just like this. And if you've got a question or a problem, leave a comment below. I'm here and this channel is here to help you build your best team ever.